Good morning, everyone. On behalf of DMA, I'm delighted to welcome you to this event, hosted by the embassies of the United Kingdom in Algeria and Algeria in the United Kingdom. My name is Lauren McKevitt, and I am a member of DMA's advisory board, and I will be chairing this hybrid event for our audiences in London, Algiers, and online. This is a key event for both the government of Algeria and the UK government in the run-up to COP26 next month. Our two nations are long-standing partners in the development of future energy technologies and share a commitment to combating climate change and increasing decarbonisation efforts in support of a safer, cleaner environment for future generations. I would like to begin by thanking both ambassadors for the kind use of their premises and for the time and support that they and their staff have generously given to facilitate the staging of this innovative event. Today, we are a mixture of live and recorded, and of in-person and remote, with keynote speeches pre-recorded and formatted ahead of time to minimise the potential for connectivity issues, and an in-person audience of key partners and stakeholders in our host embassies to minimise the need for international travel, and a live question and answer session to facilitate the participation of both those in the room and those operating remotely. This is, we hope, an event format that is equal to the challenges of today's world, but we very much hope that it is a format that will be in place for a limited time only. There is no system that can replace the energy and productivity of an in-person event, and so we at DMA look forward to a time when the world can remove some of the restrictive travel policies that the global health emergency has necessitated, and we support the international efforts to both recognise the vaccinations of other nations and to distribute vaccinations to the world as fast as possible. There are one or two housekeeping notices it would be appropriate to mention at this point. This section of the event will run for about an hour and a half, after which, at 10:30 UK time, we will switch to a live Microsoft Teams event, for which you will have received an invitation alongside your delegate information earlier this week. However, if you need to reference this at any time, it is also visible on the right-hand side of your screen on this platform. At this point, businesses in the UK and Algeria will introduce themselves on the Teams call, after which those joining online will also be invited to introduce themselves. And finally, the representatives of the government of Algeria will introduce themselves. Aisha and I will manage this from the UK, and CAPC will manage this from Algeria. We will, of course, remind you of these various technicalities at the end of this section of the event. This will be the key element of the event for companies both here and in Algeria, because, given cooperation rules, it is imperative that companies are introduced to one another to facilitate the possibility of future co-working, and, just as importantly, that you, all of you, both in the live and virtual rooms, get to ask questions and get to know the key actors in Algeria across the entire renewable energy landscape. Our job, my job, is to make sure this dialogue is as easy as possible, so I have two messages to impart here. If you have a question that you would like to have answered by any participant, please use the question bar on the screen below me, or write to events@developingmarkets.com. If there are questions that you would like to ask privately to any individual, please indicate that too, and we'll ensure that your request is shared appropriately. While the pandemic has raged around us these past 18 months, the diplomatic services of the world have been busy negotiating and debating in advance of COP26 in Glasgow next month. And although we are all, of course, hopeful for a successful resolution to those negotiations, as well as a globally supported agreement, the efforts of businesses around the world to address the impact of climate change will remain as important after COP26 as they are now. It has never been more apparent that we must diversify our energy generation methods and support the renewable sector around the world. And in that spirit, I am delighted to introduce our host here in London today, the Algerian Ambassador to the UK, His Excellency Ambassador Ben Gura, to open this event.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Mrs. Makexalt, for the kind remarks, and thanks also to DMA and Mr. Adam Sandu in particular for your great contribution in the organization of this webinar. Let me say hello to my dear colleague in Algiers, Her Excellency Mrs. Warder, to our friend and the friend of Algeria, Lord Risby, and to the participants representing the Ministry of Energy Transition and Renewable Energies, to Sonatrach, Sonelgaz, APRUE, and CAPC, and also to the participants in London and other places. I also would like to welcome the British businessman in our embassy, and also want to greet the Algerian businessman at the British Embassy in Algiers. This webinar is timely. It's organized 2 weeks before COP26, which is really a very important event. This summit, we are very optimistic that it will be a success under the British leadership, and also we hope that will be a step forward to the consolidation of international solidarity, which is so essential to face up the challenges posed by global warming. I wish to inform that Algeria will be present at this gathering with a large delegation representing many sectors of the economy. On this occasion, Algeria will expose what it achieved in the fight against climate change, what remains to be done at the national level, and what it expects from a global approach toward this threat. Algeria sees its efforts for green energy as a contribution to the global strategy to achieve the objectives of the Paris Agreement on the climate. We hope that COP26 will consolidate the results of COP21 and achieve much more. It is very important that all international agreements should protect the interest of all the state parties and recognize the leadership and the responsibility of the developing countries for reaching the set of targets and objectives in view of their technological and financial capacities, but also in view of their historical responsibility. In recent years, Algeria has redoubled its efforts to promote the development of renewable energies and clean and efficient technologies in order to achieve a successful energy transition, which is a major priority and an essential condition to ensure its energy security and to preserve its environment. Algeria's energy strategy is based on energy transition, energy saving, and the use of the energy mix. To this end, Algeria has launched an ambitious national program to rationalize its energy consumption in all sectors such as housing, transport, and industry. To develop this know-how, Algeria has created research centers for specialized institutes and the Ministry for the Energy Transition and Renewable Energies. This strategy, which requires the transformation of the whole of the national economy, will allow Algeria to gradually free itself from dependence on fossil energies and to initiate a mutation towards green energy, which is wealth creator. Algeria has set up a national program to develop its renewable energy with the objective to produce 15,000 megawatts of electricity from renewable energies by 2035. In order to achieve these objectives, Algeria counts on its skilled human resources and also on its huge natural resources. It has an average of 3,000 hours of sunshine per year. Wind energy also is an important source of energy, which is in the second place in Algeria, thanks to the country's significant wind energy available. We believe that the ambitions of Algeria in terms of energy transition could constitute a framework of cooperation with the United Kingdom, whose firms' experience and expertise are unique. So the firms of the two countries are really called upon to explore the possibilities of cooperation in the fields of energy efficiency and renewable energies, especially with the upcoming launch in Algeria of the project to build photovoltaic solar power plants as part of the National Renewable Energy Program. I wish to recall that Algeria and the UK are linked by a non-double taxation agreement, which benefits to the more than 120 British companies operating with success in Algeria, and that Algeria has adopted for the past 2 years deep and structural reforms in many sectors of the economy. So I believe today the conditions for investment in Algeria have never been so attractive, with much improved business climate, and with also the decision of the government to adopt new investment law, which offers more incentives, guarantees, and protection for investors, and with a legal framework that is more transparent, clearer, and more stable, and which makes no distinction or difference between foreign and local investments. On this positive note, I wish success to our conference today, and especially to the operators of the two countries. I like to thank you for listening, and hopefully we will have. I'm very sure that this webinar will be very constructive and very positive, and achieve a very good result. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Excellency, for your excellent contribution. To follow on from your remarks, I'm pleased to introduce Her Majesty's Ambassador to Algeria, Sharon Wardle, who will expand a little on the UK-Algeria relationship with regard to renewable energy.
Your Excellency, Ambassador Benguera, Lord Risby, honoured guests. As Her Majesty's Ambassador to Algeria, I'm delighted to welcome you all to today's event, which will examine Algeria's energy transition agenda and explore avenues for cooperation between our countries as we prepare for the 26th UN Climate Change Conference of the Parties, or COP26, which the UK will host in Glasgow in a few weeks' time. Scientists from around the world, including Noureddin Yassar, Algeria's Commission for Renewable Energies and Energy Efficiency, agree that global warming is happening at a rate faster than our planet has ever experienced, and we, humans, are the cause. We are locked into a minimum global temperature rise of 1.5 degrees Celsius, and Algeria has already experienced warming. Without action, this could rise to 5 degrees Celsius with catastrophic impacts. While 1.5 degrees may not sound very much, even this increase will have very real consequences. Floods, droughts, heat waves, wildfires, and other natural disasters are already becoming more frequent, affecting countries across the globe. This summer's forest fires across the Mediterranean region, including, tragically, Algeria, are a brutal reminder of this. So it is no exaggeration to say we are in a code red situation, and with less than a month until leaders from across the world gather in Glasgow for COP26, the time for action is now. As the Right Honourable Alex Sharma MP, COP26 President-designate, has pointed out, we already know what we must do. The 2015 Paris Agreement is the roadmap to limiting the global temperature rise. We need to keep the 1.5 degree target in reach. Our collective task at COP26 and beyond is not just to meet those commitments, but to further increase our shared ambition. Algeria's 2015 nationally determined contributions, which foresees a 22% reduction in emissions with appropriate international support, is a great example of this. Positive steps towards the implementation are underway. The recent action to end the use of leaded fuel, reinvigoration of the impressive Barrage Vert reforestation programme, and pilot projects mapping local level activity in Djelfa and Guelma, to name just a few. The Livre Blanc sur l'impact des changements climatiques en Algérie outlines further plans to meet Algeria's commitments. Of course, it is only through working together that we can rise to the scale of this global challenge. The Paris Agreement recognised the importance of countries being able to access green finance to deliver ambitious climate action, to build low-carbon economies and cope with the impacts of climate change. As COP President, the UK has been working to deliver this. We have committed to double our international climate finance to 11.6 billion over the next 5 years, and we secured significant new finance commitments from other developed countries at the G7 summit in Cornwall in June. The UK also stands ready to share experience and expertise in the run-up to COP26 and to develop a long-term partnership on climate issues that helps quantify Algeria's progress made on reducing emissions with a view to achieving the long-term net zero emissions that are needed to protect our planet. In Algeria, the energy sector in particular offers significant potential for emissions reductions, including through energy efficiency measures and greater use of renewables. By 2030, 27% of Algeria's energy production is intended to be via renewables, and the possibilities for solar energy are vast. Over 40% of the UK's electricity is now generated through renewables, and British companies are investing in and developing new technologies in wind, photovoltaics and bioenergy to increase this amount further. We will today hear a keynote speech from Lord Risby, the UK Prime Minister's Trade Envoy to Algeria, who will discuss in more detail the UK's capability in renewables and the principles that collaboration between UK and Algerian companies should follow. I'm personally confident that Algeria is equipped to rise to the challenge of climate change, which is the biggest challenge that we as a planet face. And the UK, together with our COP26 co-organiser Italy and the UN Development Programme partners, stand shoulder to shoulder with Algeria as we face this challenge together. Thank you all very much, and I wish you a successful event.
Thank you, Madam Ambassador. It is my pleasure now to introduce the Prime Minister's Trade Envoy to Algeria, Lord Risby. Lord Risby has been in this post since it was created in 2012 and brings a wealth of knowledge and experience to a role that is vital to the UK's future trading relationship with Algeria. The UK's system of trade envoys are drawn from across the political spectrum, and they support the drive for economic growth by building on the UK's existing relations with the countries they work with to maximise the potential for bilateral trade. Over to you, Lord Risby.
Having the honour to be the Prime Minister's Trade Envoy to Algeria, I am so pleased to speak once again at this important event focused on one of the world's most pressing challenges: how to deliver the power needed to fuel clean growth as we make the necessary transition to a low-carbon global economy. The horrifying manifestations of climate change have been all too obvious recently. As the UN Secretary-General said, climate change and COVID have contributed to the greatest cascade of crises in our lifetimes. Early this year in March, a distinguished group of Algerian stakeholders, including the Ministry of Energy Transition and the Algerian Ambassador to the UK, were joined by an equally strong lineup from Britain, led by the British Ambassador, the COP26 Regional Ambassador Janet Rogan, and a cross-section of British businesses for an intensive discussion of Algeria's renewable energy transition ambition. Today we come together once again on the eve of the 26th UN Climate Change Conference in Glasgow, COP26, to focus on the next step in this important process, bringing together the technological capability, subject matter and expertise, and of course, investment to realize this ambition. Climate change and the need to reduce carbon emissions is driving a global market for clean technologies, services, and infrastructure. The International Energy Agency estimates that $16.5 trillion of investment will be required up to 2030 to deliver on the 2015 COP21 agreement of keeping global warming between 1.5 and 2 degrees. At our last event on UK-Algeria collaboration on renewable energy, the chef de cabinet of the Ministry of Energy Transmission spoke of Algeria's admirable objective to change its energy model, currently based on hydrocarbons, and move resolutely towards a model that not only takes into account global trends in sustainable development, but also the specific situation in Algeria. To establish a bespoke, highly technical program of change, such as this, will require ingenuity, innovation, and entrepreneurship. Now, I'm pleased to say that we are today joined by an array of British companies which possess all these qualities. The UK was the first country to set legally binding targets in our 2008 Climate Change Act. Emissions across the country fell by 43% from 1990 to 2018, whilst the UK economy grew by 75%. We have over 460,000 people employed in the low-carbon sector and its supply chain. This supportive environment has led to the development of a strong and growing domestic capability across a range of renewable energy technologies. We have, for example, the largest installed capacity of offshore wind anywhere in the world, with a strong future pipeline. Alongside this sets a burgeoning capability in supporting and related services. For example, the integration of renewable technologies into existing grid infrastructure and the management of intermittency issues. We are also at the forefront of research into energy storage technologies, supported, for example, by the Energy Systems Catapult. This expertise is what we want to share with our Algerian partners. Of course, Algeria has ambitious green energy plans of its own. The achievement of 15,000 megawatts of solar and wind power by 2035, for example. It is so important then that collaboration between our two countries is to mutual benefit, un accord gagnant-gagnant. Hydrocarbons have been the bedrock of the UK-Algerian bilateral trade and investment relationship. The UK was Algeria's first customer for Algerian LNG, and Algeria has been unfailingly a reliable supplier to the UK for no less than 55 years. However, at a time that there have been huge changes in global energy markets, supporting the transition to renewable energy is not just future-proof, but also a very sensible business decision. To that end, I am delighted that colleagues from UK Export Finance, the UK Export Credit Agency, will be joining us today to highlight their offer both to Algeria and to UK companies embarking upon projects in the country. UK Export Finance is pleased to provide substantial sums in financial support for projects in Algeria, with an additional $2 billion on offer ring-fenced for viable energy transition projects. Algeria has enormous potential to grow the economy in a green and sustainable way. It is the largest country in Africa, with a diversity of people, natural resources, and beautiful landscape that entails, a country which personally I love deeply. Furthermore, it has the vision and the ambition that is necessary to realize what is truly the defining challenge of our age. The UK stands ready to support you in this endeavour. I wish all of you a productive, informative, and successful event. Thank you.
Thank you, Lord Risby. To talk about Algeria's efforts to diversify its energy mix, I am now delighted to introduce Nihal Mansouri, the Director of Studies from the Ministry of Energy, Transition and Renewable Energy in Algeria.
Good morning, everyone. Excellencies, dear honorable guests and participants, ladies and gentlemen. I would like at first to thank you for your warm invitation today to be part of the second business meeting on renewable energy and energy transition in Algeria as a representative of the ministry on behalf of Mr. Shaban Marwan. So I can say that the diversity of the Algerian energy mix is based itself on the energy transition and its strategy. So in order to respect time, there is very quite few ideas about the main concept of the energy transition in Algeria. So as regarding to the rapid growth of energy transition around the world, the transition itself is based on the large-scale development of renewable energy and the promotion of energy efficiency. Among the main challenges around the world, and specifically to our country, is the energy independency, especially to quit gradually the use of fossil energy and to focus on integrating more green energy sources into the energy mix. This things itself will help to achieve the climate change commitment on the international stage and reduce the greenhouse gas emission from 7 to 22%. And the third thing, of course, is to maintain and have a stable, continuous energy supply for future generation. Among the disruption of the future, we're moving from transition from fossil to sustainable new types of energy is based on 4 pillars. We're not going into details, of course, to respect the time. So sociological and behavioral, of course, will be related to the Algerian citizens and its way of consuming less energy and wisely. So it has things have to do with the relation to awareness, the technological, and having the importance of research and development to implement and have, of course, at the same time, the expertise to develop new equipment, more efficient and less costly. Environmental and economical will have to do with the development of circular economy and to have the value of several products to reduce the use of new products and hence the use of energy to produce new products. Moving to the most important thing in our energy transition and renewable energies strategy is the roadmap. This letter is based on 6 main actions, and I shall get into details directly. The energy efficiency and sobriety program has to do with the goal to achieve a 10% economy, and this will have to do with the different sector from buildings, transport to industrial sector. For the instance, in the case of building, we have the generalization of efficient lighting, the promotion of local industrialization of solar water heaters, regularity and technical measure for the energy performance of buildings and household appliance. For the case of transport, of course, we have to do with the policy of transport and how should the citizen use another types of biofuels or more friendly, eco-friendly fuels like the dual fuel, the CNG and the LPG, and of course the introduction of the e-mobility. Another option is the energy efficiency in the industrial sector, which aim at bringing it closer to international standard, decarbonization processes, and consequently improving its competition. The National Renewable Energy Development Program is another important thing. This program is based on the implementation of 15 gigawatt by 2035 with an annual implementation of 1 gigawatt of means of electricity production from renewable sources. This program has another features, which is the finalized legislative and regulatory framework governing the production of electricity from renewable sources. And in terms of encouraging the production of electricity from renewable sources, we have the availability of a national network of weather station of the historical data up to 20 years, the acquisition, process, and provision of weather data in national institution, the availability of significant potential of renewable sources, especially in the desert region, the availability of national solar and wind atlas, which have very important information about those 2 types of renewable energies, and carrying out study on the identification of sites livable for the installation of these renewable sources. Another feature is the incentive, the advantages and guarantees resulting from the regulatory package made available to investors wishing to invest, of course, in renewable energy in relation or in the framework of this program. And we have the participation in call of tender for investor, natural legal person under private or public law in partnership with local and or foreigners according to the regulation in force, the guarantee of for a period of 20 years or more between the producer and the buyer under the PPA agreement, the provision of the site previously chosen, as we have mentioned before, the availability of potential studies, solar, atlas, wind, and with identification to the sites. For the development of self-consumption, we have the development of a region that has no access to electricity and neither the electricity nor the injection into the grid. We have the individual solar kits that might get implemented in several houses in order to reduce the use of fossil energy. Another important feature is the National Green Hydrogen Plan. Is a tendency around the world to use the green hydrogen as an option, a solution to accelerate the energy transition around the world. This green molecule have to do with ecological and green transition and building a sector that have more job creation, more expertise, and moving from research and development stage to scale-up stage. We have also the substitution of natural gas by the production of green hydrogen, especially for exportation to international market, and develop economically viable uses in several sectors as a chemical products or as energy vector and other several users, especially for electricity grid equilibrium. The fifth action is the development of the new national energy model, which is based, of course, of the diversity of energy mix, based on using new types of renewable energy available with important potential in Algeria. And this model will have to be most optimal model and with a quantifiable objective for all the sectors concerned, as well as future choices in relation to the energy transition. As you can see, we have very many types of renewable energies that have to do with the new energy model of 2030. The last thing is a companion measure for the reinforcement of energy transition action. Of course, we have to give a huge importance to research and development, training, communication, awareness, and creating a synergy with association, local authorities, and citizens to give more echo to all the action and objective raised at the development of citizen communication. Thank you for your attention, and I hope I respected the timing because we have very detailed information that should have been presented in this communication. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Nihal, for your comments. To further discuss the Algerian renewable energy offering, with a special focus on solar, biogas, green hydrogen and gas flaring, it is my pleasure now to introduce a series of short speeches and a discussion from leaders within the Algerian renewable energy sector. We shall now hear from Tahir Moussaoui from APRU, Youssef Kanfard, Director of New Resources at Sonatrach, Ali Zatout, Director of Strategy at Sonelgas, and Sami Agli, President of CAPSI.
Good morning. My name is Tahir Moussaoui from APRU, from Algeria, and it's a pleasure for me to cooperate with you for this exchange programs of investment opportunities in the renewable energy domains. So I start by presenting a program energy efficiency in Algeria and the strategic approach to energy efficiency. So the APRU is a public industrial and commercial institution under the auspices of the Ministry of Energy Transition and Renewable Energy. Its main role is to develop, implement, and monitor national energy efficiency program. So the principal aims is implementing and monitor the national energy efficiency program, awareness raising and distribution of information on energy efficiency to various targets, general publics, professionals, schools, and other. Setup of sector-specific energy efficiency program and program in partnership with the sector concerned, industry, constructions, and transport. So the energy transition to zero carbon energy system will require both a shift to renewable energy and a major increase in energy efficiency. These are usually treated separately, but are not independent. So energy efficiency is the cornerstone of any transition to a cleaner, more secure, and more sustainable energy future. The two main sources of energy efficiency improvement are a greater technical efficiency from the implementation of energy efficiency technology, and a structural economic change that results in the production and consumption of goods with lower energy intensity. So the proposed energy efficiency national program for 2013 addresses all the energy consumption sector that have a significant impact on energy demands, especially for buildings, transport, and industry. It aims at reducing consumption by 10% through inter-energy substitution and the introduction of efficient equipment and technologies. The energy efficiency program focuses on all three sectors of activity that have a significant impact on energy consumptions, buildings, transport, and industry. For the building sector, the program focuses on the introduction of thermal isolation of housing, new and existing, the diffusion of economic lamps, interior and public lighting, the diffusion of solar water heaters, and the improvement of the energy performance of household appliances. For the transport sector, the program aims to promote the most available and least pollution fuel, LPG fuel, natural gas fuel, and dual fuel, and of course, a program for electric locomotion. For the industry sector, the program aims to carry out an energy audit program and an investment program to promote cogeneration, the improvement of thermal processes, and the improvement of electrical use. So, the raising energy awareness and communication are key elements of the national energy management policy. They are essential tools for disseminating good practices. Today, this agency activity are mainly oriented towards three targets, which are the general publics, the schools, and professionals, of course. So we have many challenges of energy efficiency. Energy efficiency is the first fuel and can make the energy transition affordable, faster, and more beneficial across all sectors of our economies. Any energy transition strategy must be led by energy efficiency, and the Algerian government is ready to continue to support the stakeholders in reaping the multiple benefits of energy efficiency through detailed analysis, sharing of policy best practices, and training activities. So this is a national energy efficiency program. It's a simple presentation. So I hope I try to give you many informations, maximum of informations about this program. And thank you for attention and goodbye.
Your Excellency, the Ambassador of Algeria in England, and the Ambassador of England in Algeria, dear organizers, honorable assistant, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. First of all, allow me to thank you for giving us this opportunity to talk about energy transition. As you know, only weeks left to the COP26 to be held. Our ambition is to see all efforts rewarded by an international cohesive decision to mitigate CO2 emission for a cleaner energy future. To begin with, I would like to display the worldwide context, particularly that of oil and gas companies transitioning to energy companies, coping with the need to diversify their project portfolio to green energy in alignment with climate change mitigation goals. In this context, Sonatrach has updated its strategy to diversify its project portfolio to embrace energy transition by integrating new alternative energy resources, mainly renewables, implementing energy efficiency measures and reducing its carbon footprint through gas flaring reduction. In the medium term, Sonatrach have set the goal to invest in a capacity to up 1.3 gigawatt of solar PV, which allow to cover 80% of its energy needs for oil and gas production plant by 2030. Also, oil and gas continue to constitute the core business of this company, of our company. Renewable will play a central role in the future business in order to mainly develop clean electricity generation capacities and save natural gas volume usage from these projects. Thus, a new direction has been created to take in charge the renewable project. This is to say how involved Sonatrach is about this business of great importance and which constitute actually the future of our company. The top management is deploying all means to succeed in implementing these clean projects, including the funding by investing through internal resources. Also, extra funding through project finance could be considered as an additional support. I shall cite in particular Sonatrach's projects to generate electricity on site by introducing mainly solar photovoltaic power plant. Two conditions are required: the existence of a gas pipeline in order to make it possible to evacuate the saved natural gas, and also the existence of electricity network in order to ensure that the new solar plant doesn't impact negatively the oil and gas production service reliability. Also, economy is the main driver of the project to be implemented, and currently many feasibility studies are under analysis to dive into details of the project priority ranking for short-term investment. Return on experience could be useful for further project based on already implemented project. Sonatrach has already a PV plant, like you know, located in BRN in Wergla Wilaya, and a solar thermal plant, SPP1 located in Hasirman. On the other hand, regarding energy efficiency, the implementation of energy management system, ESO, is a good example worth to mention. In addition to that, Sonatrach joined the operation Zero Routine Flaring by 2030 that aims to end by 2030 the systematic gas flaring. Furthermore, Sonatrach is studying the opportunity to invest into clean pilot projects such as the production of biofuels provided from non-fossil organic material using the conversion of existing refinery that could help saving the resources in place in a context of sustainable development. In the same trend, the production of green hydrogen or other from renewable energy could meet objective of diversifying energy sources and vectors, and Sonatrach has all the advantage to play a central role in the development of the hydrogen supply chain in Algeria. Currently in Algeria, and mainly in Sonatrach, the production and use of hydrogen is dedicated only to the petrochemical industry. I would like to say also that hydrogen produced in the future project could also be transported and exported, maybe using the existing infrastructure, including surface installations, gas pipeline, and ships. Finally, I would like to confirm that the energy transition is a reality. Its two main pillars are gas and renewables. Sonatrach is ideally placed to take advantage of this. Sonatrach is proactive and intends to play a key role in this transition. And thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, my presentation will be around Sonelgaz Energy, the presentation of the group, Sonelgaz Strategy and Vision till 2035, Sonelgaz Energy Transition, renewable energy in Sonelgaz and our hopes for hydrogen, green hydrogen. For the group, Sonelgaz is a big group in Algeria which has more than 64,000 employees, 3 subsidiaries of power generation, a subsidiary which take in operation the transmission of the grid, natural gas transmission, electricity distribution utility, engineering company, 5 subsidiaries for works and realizations, and 3 manufacturing and maintenance subsidiaries. We have for energy more than 22,000 megawatt of power generation. 2020, we have sales more than 64 terawatt hours of electricity and more than 18,000 millions of cubic meter for natural gas. The power generation was about 73 terawatt hours. The number of our customers for electricity is more than 10,000 customers, and for natural gas we are more than 600,000 and 400,000 of natural gas and more than 10 millions of electricity customers. Our challenges for our vision 2035, we have the ambition to improve our performance, to restore its financial structure regarding international context, to lead its digital transformation, to successfully shift in the energy transition, in particular renewable energies. We hope develop in international business. The 6th challenge is to prepare employees to meet all these challenges. For our energy transition, the energy transition is not limited to a renewable energy development program. It's our responsibility to launch a responsible operation process for our assets and a policy to encourage our customers to control energy consumption. This eco-responsibility approach will be specific to each subsidiary and each responsibility. We also look into, in particular, for the core business, we'll develop a plan to reduce our offset its energy consumption and direct and indirect carbon emissions. Our target is to upgrade also plants for electricity and gas networks, as well as power plants are under development. The digitalization as important axis of our strategy is the spearhead of this strategy. For renewable, given our experience and skills, Sonelgaz must have the ambition to be the Algerian champion of renewable energies. The corresponding market share assumption adopted is to own, build and operate important capacities of the national park, as well as to build and operate an additional part through operating and maintenance contracts with external funders. We are looking also the main links in the renewable energy value chain and testing the group as design of infrastructures for production and management. The production of the equipment, their construction and commissioning, their operation, their interconnection to the transporter of transmission or distribution networks, and their financing will be also considered. For our actual capacities for renewable, we have 458 megawatt of PV. We have also, this capacity is 354 megawatts for plants and 114 megawatt as hybridization of diesel plants in the south of Algeria. We have also a plant of 10 megawatt capacity in Adrar in the south of Algeria. Renewable energy development perspectives until 2030. In its vision, Sonelgaz aims to maintain its leadership position in this field of electricity production. Having renewable production capacity is in line with its strategy objectives. The renewable energy outlook mainly relates to the realization of about 30% of the national program of the COP 1,000 megawatts in the next years. For 2030, we have the ambition to realize 4,000 megawatts, and after this period, we are looking to develop importantly our capacity with the development in mass of this kind of power. For renewable development strategy, we can also say that investments from group subsidiary with SKO, our subsidiary, is considered for operating and maintenance. The group subsidiary which will take this opportunity is our subsidiary SKTM, which is actually in charge of operating and maintenance of all our PV plants. We are looking also to develop more hybridization for diesel plants in the south, national integration through progressive components factoring at industrial subsidiaries of the group and other national factories. Sonelgaz hydrogen. The green hydrogen is an important looking for us. During our last meeting with you, in a video conference between United Kingdom and Arabian countries, I have presented our study for 2030. The cost can be noticeably reduced looking to the study what we have presented 50 months ago. For the green hydrogen deployment strategy is under development. As important axis of storage to renewable intermittent response, we plan also to be project developers as soon as the cost of its production are reduced near 2030 or 35. Since that, it's important for us to consider testing projects for water resources, for technologies, especially for electrolysis, for the existing gas network tests, for the green hydrogen production project, including hybridization, is an idea of project phase. Let us say thank you for your attention, and you have my address electronic in the slide. Thank you.
Lord Risby, His Excellency British Ambassador to Algeria, His Excellency Algerian Ambassador to the United Kingdom, representative of British government, representative of the Algerian Ministry of Energy Transition and Renewable Energies. Ladies and gentlemen, Algeria has one of the highest solar fields in the world that allows taking full advantage of solar energy. In addition, the duration of sunshine over almost the entire territory can reach up to 3,900 hours, especially in the highlands and the Sahara. An IFC report on September 2020 shows that Algeria has one of the highest wind potential in Africa, with an average capacity of 7.7 gigawatt. To meet this high potential and the concern for national energy mix, Algeria launched in 2020 a program of 15 gigawatt of renewables by 2035. The first 1 gigawatt will be launched this year. Algeria has also created a dedicated ministry for energy transition in order to carry out this energy transition and in line with the needs of Algerian strategy. In this context, the CAPC invites all international companies, in particular British ones, to participate in the development of renewable energies by joining forces with the Algerian company. The local industrial content will be developed with the production of necessary equipment of renewable projects, in particular solar energy such as PV panels, cables, and mounting structure. We will be interested in completing this ecosystem with integration of inverters and transformers, as well as trackers. This could be done through the partnership in technology transfer. There are several foreign companies that are already active in this field. They work alone or with local partners. Local content is fundamental parameter in participating in calls for tenders. Incentives exist in this area if the rate of local integration is high enough. Only is a specialized agency for investors, which support in the execution of assistance granted by the state. The role of the CAPC in the energy transition is clear and wish to bring its reflection and its belief in the energy mix, including a large part of your renewable, while placing the Algerian companies at the heart of this new strategy. The CAPC vision of the energy transition is based on 5 pillars, which are the energy mix including massively renewables, energy efficiency, smart energy, power to X, and internationalization. Yes, technology and digital innovation is a centerpiece in our vision. The world is moving towards smart energy, which naturally embeds technology and digital innovation. It has been shown that the deployment of renewable energies at the scale of a country lead to massive job creation. For example, in 2017, 8.8 million jobs were created worldwide for around 900 gigawatts of renewable energy installed, or an average of 10 jobs created per megawatt installed. We are confident that the development of renewables in Algeria will bring job creation across the entire value chain. Thank you for your attention.
I'd like to thank the panel for their time here today, and now hand over to our final speaker before we begin our interactive portion of today's event, Andy Mannix from UK Export Finance, to discuss UKEF's purpose and how they can support businesses to export to Algeria and beyond. Thank you, Andy.
Good morning. My name is Andy Mannix and I'm an Export Finance Manager for UK Export Finance. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak at your event today. I'd like to give you a whistle-stop tour of UKEF and how it leads with finance in the quest for energy transition. But before I do that, I'd like to outline our mission, which is to ensure that no viable UK export fails for lack of finance or insurance from the private sector, whilst operating at no net cost to the taxpayer. Indeed, we have been a contributor to the government purse in recent times. UKEF is the world's first export credit agency, established in 1919 by none other than Winston Churchill. We work with the DIT, HMT and over 70 private lenders and credit insurers. And it's important for you to know that we are here to complement, not compete with the private sector. We support UK businesses that export through our tried and tested product range, which include export insurance policies, buyer finance and working capital products. And I'll deal with those in a little bit more depth as we go through the presentation. We were named the best export credit agency last year by both Global Trade Review and Trade Finance Global. Overall, we have a total capacity of £50 billion to support UK exports and overseas projects which involve UK exports. 37 billion of that is currently utilised, which means there is 13 billion remaining. And if you take a look at our website, you can see where we have the appetite to support further projects and in the individual markets that they operate in. In 2020, we provided £2.4 billion worth of support for sustainable projects, which is the second highest in the world last year. Our award-winning financing helped projects for offshore wind in Taiwan and sustainable transport in Egypt. And our ambition is effectively to proactively seek out opportunities for UK companies on low carbon projects. And 50% of our pipeline is in the clean growth space. We're there to provide financial support to overseas buyers and UK businesses alike to help exporters win contracts, fulfill orders and get paid. And we're playing a leading role in the UK government's ambitions for a green industrial revolution. This slide gives us details of the eligible projects which we can support for clean growth, and I don't intend to go through each and every one of them. You can have them as a reference point after this presentation. Our export development guarantee is supporting energy transmission in the automotive industry, as Ford, Nissan and Jaguar Land Rover can attest to in their quest to transition to electric vehicles. We have a £2 billion dedicated direct lending facility to finance clean growth projects overseas and therefore create opportunities for UK businesses. And this lending facility attracts repayment terms of up to 18 years for renewable energy projects. That's nearly double the typical 10-year outlook. Our products are really formed through three separate entities. Firstly, financing, then guarantees and insurance, and I'll go through each of those in turn. Our financing products are designed to win contracts, to provide attractive finance terms for overseas buyers of UK goods and services, obviously, and help exporters make their offering more competitive. That can be through our buyer credit facility, our direct lending as mentioned, and our supplier credit finance facilities, as well as the export development guarantee, which I discussed earlier. Our guarantees are there to fulfill orders. That means it helps companies access the support they need to fulfill contracts, giving them the confidence to take on more contracts and increase turnover. That could come in the form of the bond support scheme, the export working capital scheme, and our recently launched general export facility, which has been a game changer for providing support to UK exporters. We now, through that facility, look at an exporter as an entity in itself, rather than concentrating on the individual contract that the exporter may involve themselves in. Our insurance products help exporters get paid and manage the risk in challenging markets. Even where the private market is not able to offer insurance, our export insurance policy may be able to do that. Alongside that, we have a bond insurance policy and insurance to protect overseas investments. Let me discuss a little bit about how this may work, and we'll look at it from the context of an overseas buyer. They will inquire about UK support to, let's say, build an offshore wind farm. They will contact our international export finance executives, of which there are roughly 15 across the world, as well as the Department for International Trade and the Foreign and Commonwealth Development Office in overseas posts to discuss UK support options with the buyer, and our buyer finance products will be outlined to them. If this then moves to the next stage, the likes of myself, an export finance manager, or an international trade advisor, or a DIT industry sector team will engage the UK supply chain to help support the project. UK companies that are in that supply chain are therefore eligible for UKEF support through our exporter guarantees and insurance project. Let me give you a bit of an idea of what an export finance manager does. There are 26 of us across the UK supporting exporters in every single region. And we are there to help back bank finances for exporters' facilities. We're there to help build UK supply chains for the overseas projects, as I mentioned earlier. And we're there to make it more attractive to buy from UK companies. We support the expansion of UK operations to generate local jobs and boost export potential. And if the banks are not in a position to provide the backing that an exporter may need, we're there to signpost UK exporters to alternative finance providers. We step in to provide exporters protection against non-payment in a wide range of markets through our export insurance policy. And let me give you a couple of examples of where our support has come into play. I already mentioned this offshore wind project in Taiwan, and that's one of many international offshore wind companies, including 18 who have from the UK who have set up operations in Taiwan to help develop local industry in collaborating with Taiwanese partners. We've also supported a solar project in Spain. Two of the largest solar plants in Spain, Cabrera Solar and Talayuela Solar, have each had UK exporters involved in those projects. And when complete, these plants will power more than 250,000 homes each year. Our support allowed Solar Century, one of the providers to that project, to access the working capital and bond support needed to fulfill the contract. So, as I say, that was a brief whistle-stop tour of UKEF. I hope you found it useful. My contact details will be provided to you, and please look at our website for contact details of other export finance managers in the region that you may operate in. Thank you.
Thank you to all our speakers this morning. We will now move over to the interactive portion of today's event. As a reminder, your invitation to the Microsoft Teams event was included in your delegate information pack, which you should have received earlier in the week. But if not, it is also visible on the bottom right of the screen. And remember, if you have a question, please enter it in the question box below the screen when we're on the Teams call, or alternatively, email it to events@developingmarkets.com. Don't forget to indicate if you wish your question to be asked privately. I look forward to seeing you all on the Teams call in a minute, and thank you very much for attending today's event.